Like the juice.
T-minus 50 seconds.
At the point where we're at, it is a lot easier for new people to get up to speed really quick.
T-minus 40 seconds.
Let's go. That's a W. That's E1. That's E1. That's a W. How many of you want to eat a W tonight?
T-minus 30 seconds.
Rick Hill taking over our camera. I think there may be a penalty for excessive celebration, but you know what? I'm going to let that one slide.
T-minus 20 seconds.
That's what I'm talking about. Now y'all some fun.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Take a deep
4,
breath.
3,
This is it, right
2,
here.
1, 0.
All right, guys, let's hop into eBay and see what kind of football card action we can get into tonight. Hope everybody had a great Easter. We're in a nice little period right now here before the NFL draft in a few weeks. We want to try and talk about some surprises that could happen during the draft. Also got some pretty big news today. Steve, the eBay hitman, joined with me as always, and I'm your host, Andy. What's going on, Steve?
Oh, man, family stuff, Easter stuff, all that good old day off of work business. I'm hoping everyone's having a great Sunday, and hopefully one that doesn't involve working today. Maybe a little eBay sniping as well. We got some football news today, Andy. I don't know if you saw the one major piece of news that came out this afternoon, but it's been a good Sunday overall. How about yourself?
Yeah, man. Odell Beckham Jr. Hopping to the Baltimore Ravens, and he's 30 years old. He's played 16 or 19 games in the past 3 years. It's some stat like that. He's obviously dealt with injuries, and he's moved around a lot. So it'll be interesting. My big question for you, Steve, is, what does this mean for Lamar Jackson? Does this mean he's going to stay? I just saw a thing across my Twitter timeline come around where Odell and Lamar Jackson were throwing deuces to each other. I'm not sure if that means peace out, or does that mean Lamar Jackson stays in Baltimore? Does it mean he leaves? What do you think the people need to know about their and also what they should be doing with their cards right now, their rookie cards?
I think it's good news for Odell hype. I don't know necessarily what it means for Lamar. It could mean that, hey, here's 18 mil that we have tied into this year's salary, and it may mean there's not enough room to overpay for a quarterback that's been on a 3-year decline. Or it could be hey, here's a incentive for you to lower your asking price because we're getting some weapons for you. So I'm still not entirely convinced he's going to stay there, but it is a good move on their part either way. It's a lot of risk at 18 mil, but it is only for 1 year. I don't know. I still think Lamar is going to be on another team personally.
Yeah. Let me say what's up to Victor. We got Rage. We got Bob popping in for a bit. Happy Easter, guys. BB. Victor, I appreciate that. Awesome. Yeah, I love that you guys hit that notification button. You guys are awesome. Glad to have you in here. I would love to hear what you guys think as well in the chat. If you have any live eBay snipes you want us to pull up, potentially look at, want to look at the best sellers, want to look at some 2022 product, want to talk about some draft rumors. Steve, the Twitter post was very interesting. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because it is very fresh. This just came across just a couple minutes ago, with the picture of Lamar Jackson. Yeah, there it is right there from Lamar's IG. There you got Lamar with the Ravens chain on. I don't know exactly. Looks like according to Ari Meirov from Sports Updates, it definitely looks like Lamar Jackson and Odell Beckham are on the same page. ... from Lamar's IG. I tend to think that this means that he's gonna stay, but I obviously think that there's a possibility he leaves. But This, I think, means he's going to stay, like you said. This is a little bit more incentive to take a little bit less money with better weapons. And ultimately, like, it seems like it's easier to stay when he's had permission to talk to other teams now for weeks and nothing has really come out of it, you know. The price that he wants guaranteed more than Deshaun Watson. It's just, I don't know if people are kind of snake bit from that deal, but I mean, that's a steep asking price, especially when you have a talented draft class of rookies coming out this year. I pulled up some Odell Beckham stuff. I mean, the guy's 30 years old. Like here's one that just sold probably a few minutes ago with a big old patch in it, Steve, from this is a Crown Royal silhouette out of $299 that you want to take a guess on this one?
Let's see. Has it got an auto on it?
It does. Yeah, it's looks like on card too. It looks like an on card auto. It is a rookie card. You got the big RC shield. Has a tiny bit of stitching in the patch. It was listed for $100 with $6.99 standard shipping from Philadelphia, which is pretty steep shipping for a $100 card.
I'll say 60.
60? Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy, I like sports cards, 100% positive, which is good. Yeah, let's see what, how long he kind of held that card for. I think the lower the offer was accepted, maybe longer he's held it, ready to move it. I think this, if you held Odell for a while, this is the move you were waiting for to kind of sell on this little news hype right here. Okay, we got a transaction at 75, which is pretty much the same going back to January 14th. But going back to the playoffs, remember there was rumors that he was going to sign with the Cowboys or somebody at the end of the season in the playoffs. And, I was like, well, no, his ACL is not ready. But there was the rumors, and obviously it's Odell Beckham. So he's super popular off the field. He's got more social media followers than Tom Brady, for Christ's sake. So it's the $79 transaction in an auction too, Steve, here on January 14th for 80 goes now for 75. That one was out of 49. So that makes this out of 299 transaction look a lot more impressive when you factor in that was out of 49.
That's true.
I didn't notice that.
And a lot of people, out with family right now, and the news may not be hitting everyone, in a time fashion. So I think maybe by tomorrow you'll see a lot more auctions or buy it nows.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. We are on a holiday today. Lamar is coming to the Pats for a big bag of fries and a Big Mac. See what we did there? Yeah, I see exactly what you did there. That was other news from earlier in the week that I read. The whole story about how Mac Jones went out and sought outside consultation during the season without Bill Belichick's approval. And I think if there's one thing that Bill Belichick does not like, more so than lack of performance is, disloyalty, going seeking outside help instead of consulting him and the coaching staff internally, which I get it. I mean, Matt Patricia, your offensive coordinator, give me a break, right? So apparently Mac Jones has been shopped. He could be traded this offseason, which could mean the Pats are in the market to draft a quarterback, which we know would be huge. I think there'd be a temporary Bailey Zappi spike, but ultimately him not really probably being their long-term guy. They could be in the market to make a move in the draft and draft a guy if they're really trying to get rid of Mac.
Yeah, I think, I mentioned it a few times with them being interested in Lamar, but it recently came out that Lamar is interested in them as well. So if you have any, rough around the edges relationships with your starting quarterback, and you have a connection to Lamar Jackson, that does make a recipe for a potential trade.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson does have the potential if he gets back on track to his 2019 form. It's his passing almost seems like it has gotten better, but he's struggled to stay consistent with it. And he's struggled to stay healthy. Like that was the big thing, towards the end of last season and the season before. Both seasons he got banged up down the stretch and missed quite a few games, like more than what I think we were all expecting. Like both times the injury didn't seem that significant. We thought he was going to miss maybe a couple weeks, but the ankle and the lower body injuries got him both seasons, man, which really derailed both of those seasons for him. I'm trying to look and see Lamar's sold data right now, if this Odell Beckham Jr. has really had an impact on him as well. Couple auctions ending tonight. Field level silver PSA 10 for $313. I've got to guess that's going to be pretty low compared to Josh Allen especially.
Yeah, we know if he can go to a new team and elevate that team, that the values would not take long to get back to, maybe not, where they were in his Pro Bowl season, but not to be too far off from the other leading quarterbacks. But I think that, if you're buying into any QB in the hobby and you're going to spend hundreds or potentially a couple $1,000s on a card, like, you want to know that there's some stability in that investment, and you've only seen decline for 3 years with him. So, you want a little reassurance that you're getting into a sustainable investment with him. And I think that that's not just from the hobby, that's from the coaching in the NFL too.
Yeah, man. So true. Look at the massive difference now too, between that, like the Optic, the Donruss, the Prism, PSA 10, Lamar Jackson, $132 trend, $450 trend for Josh Allen. And I think Josh Allen's still a premium. I mean, arguably Superflex fantasy first round, Steve. Are you taking Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
First round?
Yeah, first round. It's a Superflex. We're talking Superflex. You can even make it a Superflex Dynasty, Superflex Best Ball, Superflex Seasonal, even for 2023. Let's just say it's seasonal. It's not Dynasties. We're not going to lock in for the entire career unless you cut or trade the player. Let's talk about 2023 seasonal fantasy or seasonal best ball. And first round Superflex, where you prioritize quarterbacks. It's advantageous. The winning rosters from best ball manias, Superflex leagues did draft elite quarterbacks in the first and second rounds. So because they score so many more points on a weekly basis on average, you have to prioritize them in your drafts, and those Superflex drafts where you can start 2 quarterbacks per week. Are you taking Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
I mean, I'd still have to go Josh Allen. I mean, the fantasy output has been there for consecutive years, and even with the increase in turnovers, the guy's throwing like 55 times a game, and the numbers are there. He pretty sure he was the fantasy number 1 quarterback last year, despite the regression. So I think you still got to go there with him. But, Lamar's that kind of guy that could potentially get himself back into the conversation. But I think until you see, results on paper, you still got to go with, the proven track record.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going Josh Allen as well. Here's a base. So this is a base select field level PSA 10 for Josh Allen, trend of $300 on that card, and Lamar Jackson was a silver $300. So there's still a massive difference, which, I think at the current market prices for Lamar Jackson, there's definitely upside, but it's definitely without going to a new team, right, Steve? It's definitely going to take that performance-driven spike. I mean, like, they're going to have to make a playoff run. I mean, they're in a very difficult division. They, look at the teams they have to play. The Browns, the Bengals are now like kind of in charge of that division, and you've got the Steelers, who are definitely going to get better this year, in my opinion, as well. I mean, it's just kind of greasing the groove. You got second year for Kenny Pickett and a lot of those guys, so they're definitely going to get better. And he's going to have to compete, man. The Ravens, obviously, they've got great coaching, and they've been contenders for a while. The defense is always solid, but that offense has got to consistently perform week in and week out. I think Lamar Jackson's one of those guys, Steve, that his rookie card values are going to be closely tied to how many games the team is winning and how what are his MVP odds from Vegas? Like after week 3, what are his odds to make MVP? You know, and if he's near the top 3, like if he's with the Mahomes and the Allens, like after the first 3 weeks of the season, and the Ravens are 3-0, you're going to see that directly correlate in a Lamar Jackson price spike. Like he obviously it's not going to go up to that of Josh Allen unless he gets to a couple AFC Championship games, but it will absolutely go up in value. You know, you start seeing these based honors PSA 10s now go for like 110, 120, something like that. It just kind of goes up like 20, 30% and you know, kind of continues to go up or down based on that win-loss record of the team and the overall MVP consideration for him.
Yeah, here's the thing is, you know, his cards are dipped quite a bit at the moment value-wise, but again, we talk about a lot of what we talk about on this channel is correlation between fantasy and real life stats and card value. And, you know, when you've seen a running quarterback begin to dip in production, you have to worry, right? You do have to worry. But he's also the kind of quarterback that isn't for everyone in the hobby. But the people that do invest in mobile quarterbacks in the hobby clearly have a fixation for them. Look at how many people bought huge into Trey Lance and other guys like that. So the people that are willing to invest in, you know, a big playmaker, even if it's with his legs, are willing to spend the big dollars. And that's where you'll see his cards rebound if he can actually start, you know, winning games and playing games for that matter.
100%. Well, speaking of which, I want to look and see if we can't snipe some Chris Olave cards because I think, you know, we kind of touch on it, but I mean, if you look at Derek Carr's deep ball stats over the past several years, he's ranked in elite company up there with Brady and Rodgers and some of these other really good deep ball throwers in the league. And now he's with the Saints. Chris Olave is definitely their top receiving option. He's definitely the young alpha guy that's going to go out there, who's going to win against all types of coverages, take the top off a defense, and be able to execute on those Derek Carr deep shots. So I absolutely, and so I'm still looking at blowout cards every week and noticing that their number one bestseller is the 2022 Bowman Chrome University. People prospecting on this upcoming draft class. But then behind that, it's the new 2022 product, Steve. It's rookie ticket autos, Panini Contenders, rookie ticket autos, the football hobby box for $299.95. I think people are looking at this as half the price of Prism, and you get 5 autographs in the box break. Not all guaranteed to be rookie ticket autos because you've got NFL Inc., legendary contenders autographs, MVP contenders autograph, coaches tickets now. Which, I mean, hey, who's gonna be unhappy if they get like an Andy Reid coach's ticket auto or Sean Payton coach's ticket auto, or even like I think it would be cool to get like a Mike McDaniels. There's a bunch of guys, obviously Bill Belichick. Like there's a bunch of guys in the league. You know, Kyle Shanahan. You would love to get a coach's ticket auto. Brian Dable. You know, so I could keep going, but so those are cool. So like I'm actively trying to see what I can get into on those, Steve. I don't know what you've noticed in the market on the rookie ticket autos. There's auctions ending right now. Like there's some stuff going down right now. It's too bad that Danny Gray is a redemption. I don't like going through the whole redemption process, Steve. Anyways, I digress. What's your take on the new rookie ticket autos in the current market on these 2022 rookie cards?
They seem well. One good thing about them is since the product's just being actively pulled right now, there's an abundance of them in auction right now. You can find a lot of them on the, you know, consignment pages or even in the buy it now format. And the thing is that I think that you have a little bit of discrepancy in what people perceive the value of these on, which I think is interesting because it is so new. But I'm seeing huge price differences between the same card where it's just, you know, $10-20 gap on some of these cards, 15 or 30, and the same player. So I think it's just so new that people don't really know where to price it out at. And there's actually some people that don't really like the traditional look of the base rookie ticket auto. I personally like it, but I have seen some people that think it's too basic. So I like it. I think that it was a good touch. It doesn't need to be all flare all the time. And there's actually a couple variations that they did, Andy. I don't know if you saw these, but the Panini Elements type card, it's actually a metal rookie ticket auto. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but I think it's a great touch, and they are numbered as well.
I have not seen that, man. I'm going to have to pull that up real quick. This Jalen Warren caught my eye because he's undrafted. He's a great handcuff to Najee Harris on the Steelers. He averaged 4.9 yards per carry last year. Also racked up 28 receptions, 214 yards. Like the guy actually showed up really well with the opportunities he was given, and they ran the ball at a pretty decent clip. So like he had some solid breakaway runs. His EPA was pretty high. His yards created per touch. He didn't have a ton of touches. So was kind of fifth best amongst running backs, but you have to take that as a smaller sample size. So I think he's a great handcuff. He's a deep sleeper. He also plays for a massive market team. This one kind of caught my eye at $11, and he doesn't get put into hardly any sets, right? I mean, because he is undrafted. So it's like, this is a great set to kind of target these sleepers, these undrafted rookies and stuff.
What's interesting about that too is that, like you said, there's guys that don't typically get printed in other sets that you can find in contenders. I didn't even know this until yesterday. The Bears rookie punter is actually in the set. He was drafted in the 6th round, and I came across his card yesterday. I'm like, is that guy even on the team? It turns out he is on the team. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool, because if you're a collector, whether it's for profit or just because you love to collect, like, you want to see guys on the team that aren't printed in most sets. And we kind of talked about that a few weeks ago, where you have so many like legends and veterans printed, but not a whole lot of active players outside the main superstars.
Yeah, man. And so if you want to figure out if you're going to get a good deal on this Chris Olave, the first thing we want to do is type in 2022 rookie ticket auto Chris Olave. Scroll down here on the left-hand side and show only sold items. See if we can find one that's just recently sold. Here's some of those other inserts and parallels Steve was talking about. I am going to pull up the elements here in a couple minutes, guys. I definitely want to look at that. Oh, here we go. 76, number 1 out of 49. Is this what you're talking about? The silver medal ticket?
Yeah. And that showcase one below it is new as well. My buddy pulled the Alec Pierce of that, which is like a color match.
It's your guy Alec Pierce in Indianapolis. He might be getting a big quarterback upgrade. Well, I mean, Gardner Minshew's already an upgrade, but I mean, number 4 overall, you got to think the Colts are definitely going for maybe Anthony Richardson is going to be their guy, or Will Levy. So it's kind of weird. Carter and I were debating, who the Colts go for the other day. I think a lot of PFF analysts and experts are projecting either Anthony Richardson or Will Levy's.
I can see it.
This is pretty cool. Now, is this like made out of real silver?
I think it would probably be worth quite a bit more if it was, but no, I mean, I really like those metal cards, and for anyone that hasn't held one before, I mean, they have some weight to them too. So I don't know how they factor in grading for a card that basically is almost impossible to have imperfections, but it is cool. I like it.
I bet you a lot of the issues in grading those is the surface, like the paint, the ink not sticking to the metal surface of that card.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know how well put together those are. I only have like a handful of them. I think I've got a like a Randy Moss one and maybe a couple other guys. At one point, I think I had a Fields, which I erroneously moved way too early, but they're just cool cards. If you've never had one before, this might be a good opportunity. If there's like an up and coming rookie that you have your eyes on, that's be a cool card to grab.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of scarcity there with the serial number and the uniqueness, the inaugural release of that. That is really cool, combining the elements, Panini elements, with the rookie ticket auto and the showcase. They piloted this with the rated rookies recently. I've seen them doing a few other sets. It's a really cool design. It kind of reminds me of when they did the 2014 Prism, and they had sets that had like, I think like, I have like a Mike Evans where there's a couple parallels from the 2014 Prism where they put Panini all in the background, they put the rookie all in the background like this, similar to this, but this is almost like you could tell this is a scan of the card, but little I think these are like little refractor. I'm gonna have to get one of these and get it in my hands and see what it looks like, under like a video, because I have a feeling this looks really, really cool.
Yeah, the little whatever shapes those are, they are like refractory. So the scan isn't doing it any justice, but the those are some really nice cards.
So here you go. 70, 92, just a couple days ago, 92, 70 for Chris Olave. So that's your first objective. Okay, wait, this one just closed 1 minute ago for 71. So yeah, you're getting fair market value. Maybe there's a little bit more to squeeze out of that. It's tough to say because there's going to still be optic and select for these guys that are major releases before September rolls around. But this product is obviously going to do really well, short and long term. That's why it's such a good product, guys, to invest in. And the one thing is, like, optic contender is going to come out. So you really want to look at the corners and edges on these. The 2021 rookie ticket autos had a lot of issues, specifically where the barcode ended on the side of the card. There was a lot of like edge and corner wear on these because they are made on a like a paper card stock, like a cardboard card stock. But these look pretty clean, man. I gotta say, there's only that one little spot on the card that touches the edge completely, and I have a feeling these are going to gem out better than the 2021 ones, Steve.
And you mentioned earlier about looking at some Olaves tonight. I mean, it's a good situation for him. Derek Carr, I know, well, not a lot of people are sold on him, but from a receiver perspective, you want your quarterback to be a guy that's going to put the ball in your hands a lot. And not his best season last year, but Derek Carr, has been averaging like 4,500 yards passing the past couple of years. So that's a guy that you want throwing your receiver the ball. And I think you got to be looking for more Olave for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just look at, all right, even if the Falcons get better, they're still not going to be good. And then the Bucs are entering a total rebuild mode. And that's me speaking optimistically as a Buccaneer fan here in Tampa. And the Panthers are going to be contenders, so that's going to be, I think, the real competition for the Saints. I think the Saints are going to be contenders. The Panthers are going to be contenders. They're drafting number 1 overall now, and they're obviously going after a quarterback. And it's kind of been tossed up between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. I think they probably go with Stroud. He seems to be more of a complete physical package and just ready to go day one. So it's going to be really interesting. But I think that's what you do, man. You come in here like, okay, first wide receiver taken in 2022 with incredible talent and upside is Drake London. They just don't throw the ball much. They got a developing rookie quarterback themselves. And there's a lot of developing going there and on a super run heavy team too, albeit. So Drake London, he can see those rookie ticket auto values around 40. So I'm like, all right, man. Okay. The Olave is definitely priced at a premium. Then you got to look at Garrett Wilson. I just don't see the same. I guess it is there. Like, okay, it is there for Chris Olave to have the same fantasy performance upside, touchdown upside as Garrett Wilson. But my bet would be on Garrett Wilson getting more touchdowns, especially if Aaron Rodgers finally gets solidified on the Jets, which I'm guessing that happens draft night. I think that's one of those things that happens draft night, Steve, where they package in some draft picks based on what happens in the beginning. And they finally get that deal done. And and Rodgers is announced, and it's just, man, it's going to be so exciting because there's going to be so much hype going on right at the draft. But look at these Garrett Wilson rookie, and this is buy it now, sold today. Like, people are anticipating. Not only did he win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but they're also anticipating his stock to go up even more based on the Aaron Rodgers acquisition. So his cards are probably higher than any other skill position player from this past draft.
Did you see the video, Andy, of Alan Lazard playing tag or catch or whatever it was with Aaron Rodgers this week?
No, I didn't.
I think it's just it's foreshadowing at this point. I think it's
all but a done deal, right?
From what I understand, it's basically a done deal. They're just packaging out what would happen if he plays 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, etc., as far as like future draft pick compensation. So, which makes sense. If he decides to hang it up next year and they give up like 3 years worth of draft picks, it's not quite exactly a fair trade. But if he plays for 3 years and they offer like a whatever 4th round pick for every year he plays or something like that, that seems to make more sense.
And Rodgers, another great athlete, man, but Rodgers is the tide that rises all boats on the Jets, man. All skill position players that are left on the Jets after this trade finally gets written in stone. I mean, check out these prices on Breece Hall. I get it, but he's coming off an ACL tear of his own. I mean, he is obviously still in his prime. He's still super young. He obviously is very comparable to Jonathan Taylor. He can do it all. And, I mean, he's the guy in the backfield there when he is healthy. So, obviously, you can see prices reflect that. But, obviously, they wouldn't be as high if Zach Wilson was going to be their starter or, some combination of Chris Streveler, where they picked up Nick Boyle, right? Who's Aaron Rodgers' backup for years in Green Bay, who also worked with Nathaniel Hackett. So it's like they're trying to put the whole Green Bay, show together from just a couple years ago. And plus the extra pieces they've already got there now, and their rookie picks lately, and their defense, their defense is bomb, man. That Jets defense is scary good. So the Jets are putting together a win now team next year, which is crazy to think in a division like the AFC East that's already got the Bills and the Dolphins and the Patriots in it. It's gonna be crazy division. Like, the AFC is just so loaded from the east to the north to the west, even the south with Trevor Lawrence and the Jags ascending. The Titans kind of always are scrappy. They hang in there. The Colts could be a lot better this upcoming year. Offensively, I think the Colts, they definitely have gotten a little weaker on the defense, but they definitely are getting stronger on offense. So it'll be interesting, but I mean, the AFC is just loaded compared to the NFC.
I think the Colts still have a pretty good defense. I think the biggest hindrance for the Colts is the inability for the offense to stay on the field. I mean, that'll kill any defense if they're fatigued the entire game. So if they can put together a resemblance of an offense, that does benefit the defense overall. So I think that I think you're right. That does make them better overall, just by getting an improvement on offense, which I think that they do get. A lot of people are speculating that they do take AR, but I don't know if I'm sold on that yet. They may trade down and try to accumulate some picks.
People are after those Sauce Gardner rookie. So this is wild, man, because Sauce Gardner rookie ticket autos are going for more than the Chris Olave, twice as much as the Drake London.
Andy, what's interesting is, a lot of people speculate, well, don't invest in defensive players and blah, blah, blah. But if you look at what Sauce Gardner and Aiden Hutchinson, like mid to high end cards go for, I saw a Prism, gold Prism out of 10 Hutchinson today. I stopped following it after 225. So I mean, like these cards are going for quite a bit of money, and understandably so. These are, going to be some of the best defensive players of this generation.
Yeah, man, they have such good storylines too. They've got the whole package. They've got the college storyline. They've got like such a dynamic personality, to where they're just very notable figures. They've got loud personalities, and they've got these really good storylines going so far for them in the NFL. Even look at the penmanship on Hutch's is not very good, but neither was the sauce. The sauce wasn't very good too. It's kind of like this, kind of as I imagine these guys are signing so many of these cards at this point, especially if it's on card. I mean, how many cards can you sit there and sign before you just like, oh man,
Yeah, go take a coffee break or something.
Yeah, you really do have to pace yourself. Like, all right, Benini, I know I want to get this done and over with, but I'm gonna have to take a break. I'm starting to get carpal tunnel over here.
What was I gonna say?
71 for the Hutch.
Another thing that both Hutchinson and Sauce have in common, Andy, is two teams that are young at their nucleus that are, recently went from looking like a famished organization to now playoff contenders.
Yeah, so true. Which reminds me, I gotta go back and I'm curious to see what's been going on with David Montgomery. Like, have people been taking a little bit more stabs? I've noticed his ADP has gone up a little bit. Yeah, okay. There's definitely some trends. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, look at that, jumping right off the bat, the rookie ticket. PSA 10s, that's still really favorable. I mean, that's the way to do it, guys. Like,
look at that pop.
Yeah, pop 7. So you really, if you see the PSA 10 for anything under 100, you just grab it. Because there's not going to be any others out there. The chances of the 7 of these and then there's another opportunity that we go back to is getting these actually graded, get them submitted and get them graded, man. The prices are very reasonable now for PSA, and you can get them graded. I don't know if you're submitting now, depending on how much you're submitting, and obviously you got to follow their declared value guidelines and stuff like that. You don't want to get dinged for additional money, but look at that field level silver from 2019. Only $18 for a PSA 10, but when was that transaction? That was back March 12th, so it was probably before the news. It was auctioned, and it was only a pop 34. So if you find one of those out there, obviously it's going to go for a lot more than that. They're probably listed for now over $100. But
yeah, I mean, people got to realize that the guy he's replacing had a prominent offensive role and had 17 touchdowns last year. Skill set wise, he's an upgrade, and he's essentially the starter, with Swift being like a change of pace. They gave him a lot of money. They didn't give him a lot of money to back anybody up.
Yeah, heck no. Price shipping, highest first. What's the biggest 2022 rookie ticket autos sold? The Brock Purdy. Not surprised. It's a sick card though. I love this. I love the stub design, the stub look on this. It's April 6th. 49ers starting quarterback Brock Purdy recovering from elbow surgery. Check out that stub design there, Steve. That's some nice cutting work there from Panini.
I've heard some interesting QB chatter, Andy, about the 49ers. I don't know if you've heard this or if anyone.
Nice penmanship. What do you got for us?
I'm hearing that on draft day, the 49ers are going to make a package deal for Kirk Cousins. Just saying. I heard it through the grapevine.
Dude, Kirk Cousins investors are gonna cash in. They're gonna flip, man. Kirk Cousins fans would flip if that happened. That'd be massive. I just go ahead. Obviously people are gonna say, yeah, but he can't win in prime time. He's not going to be able to win in the playoffs. So it may still take a deep playoff run. I'm just saying that's the stigma around Kirk Cousins. So it still may, like, there may not be, like, I think immediate reaction would be really good. And I think there'll be a small spike, but then there's going to be like all those people out there like, wait a minute, but Kirk Cousins can't win in the playoffs. Maybe he can with the 49ers, though.
49ers do have a defense. I will say that. Vikings defense is questionable at best.
Yeah. And Kirk Cousins, man, for a guy who doesn't run much, you know, I mean, top 11 fantasy quarterback, 4,500 passing yards. They did throw the ball quite a bit last year. 643 pass attempts last year, which ranked fourth most in the NFL. Trying to get up there with Brady type numbers. Second most red zone pass attempts. They played fast. That was that Kevin O'Connell coming into the Vikings. They threw the ball a lot. Third most air yards. He also had a lot of pressured throws, though. So that speaks to the lack of Vikings offensive line performance. He was third best in the league in deep ball completion percentage. 13 best, number 13 in pressured completion, 10th in play action. So you got to be good. You're going to excel at play action completion on the 49ers with that bomb.com run game. But then he's sixth best in red zone completion. So really, really solid across the board. Top 10, number 10 in accuracy rating. So number 1 in deep ball accuracy rating. He actually did quite well this past season in the deep ball arena. So,
you know, the interesting thing about that too is it's not just Kirk Cousins that would see a boost in value, but basically every receiver on that team.
Mm-hmm. You know who I would actually, man, you know who's really interesting to look at if that were to happen. Like, obviously, you could look at Kirk Cousins right now because I guarantee you the market is going to be pretty juicy. I think it's just always really juicy for Kirk, especially after this latest playoff, loss. I mean, that's like, come on. It's like we're looking at the PSA 10 market over the past 30 days, rookie market here. I mean, he's got a very low pop count too on most of his stuff. A lot of it's just like, 2012. I don't even have the 30-day, 413 PSA 10. I remember these are going like $100 though. As Steve, the guy though that I'd be looking at that has a lot of product is Brandon Ayuk. I know people are going to go for Deebo Samuel, but his cards are already really expensive. Deebo Samuel's cards are still really expensive after the 2021 season when Deebo broke out as a top 3 performer, all the runs, all the receptions. I mean, Deebo broke out in such a big way in 2021. I think there's still a lot of value to be had in Brandon Ayuk potentially. Obviously, I'm on Soul Auctions highest. So in the past 90 days, there are people who spend some pretty big money, but let's see.
Well, they don't have Justin Jefferson, but what they do have is a couple good, really good receivers. They don't have the best of the best, but they have a couple really good guys, and they have a really good tight end, just like he had in Minnesota. So I think that there's not going to be a drop off of any kind. Not to mention he's got probably the best receiving back in football. I think it's a huge destination place. And if someone asked about Cousins' contract, 2023 as of right now is his last year on paper. He's a free agent in 2024. So the move seems to make sense for both teams at the moment.
Yeah, it just like, I guess then that would be they have no yeah, I mean, because Cousins would be a long-term solution for them. Cousins would be that veteran long-term solution. So you think they make like some kind of package deal with Trey Lance? It's got to include Trey Lance then. Because they've already got Darnold on contract. I just thought they showed a lot of confidence in Purdy. I don't know, man. I get it's definitely a long shot, but
yeah, one of those two guys would have to be in the deal. You figure you can't. How many QBs can you have on your roster?
Well, they don't need. Yeah, You don't need more than 3, 4. I mean, 4 tops if you got a bunch of scrubs. But I mean, 3. That's what most teams have. And you got Darnold, who's already he'll be ready to play. Purdy may not be ready to play. He may not be 100% all year, from what some doctors say. But obviously, I think modern sports medicine technology is really good. I like Brandon Ayuk though, man. I mean, even if we get Darnold back there, like from a wide receiver standpoint, Deebo Samuel's cards are so expensive. Brandon Ayuk is the next top option. I mean, the guy had 113 targets this past year, just over 1,000 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, and you're talking about a Super Bowl contending team. Now, if you were to ask me who I'd rather have, I'm going to ask you, Steve. Who would you rather have between Brandon Ayuk and Gabe Davis? Who are you going to go with for 2023?
From a consistency perspective, I would go with Ayuk for sure.
There you go, man. There you go.
I know someone out there was thinking I was going to say Gabe Davis, but I love me some Gabe Davis, UCF fan. But no, if you're going with one of the most consistent route runners, the guy just seems to find a way to get open all the time. He's got good hands. Everyone loves a huge playmaker, but consistency is what you want, especially if you're going to be chucking it 55 times a game.
Yeah, he's a top 15 wide receiver against man coverage in terms of win rate. He ranked 13 in route win rate versus man 14th, target separation versus man 11th best. So Brandon Ayuk is a very good quality receiver. He's a first-round draft talent. He did put up 8 touchdowns last year as well. So he's only 25 years old. He was very good at Arizona State. The guy's got very good burst. He's also got really long arms, 6 foot 205. So, I mean, he's just a really good talent that they could also not be able to pay. He's heading into a contract year. You can't pay everybody on the 49ers. You got big contracts for Deebo. Now Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, you can't pay everybody on the team, so something's got to give. And you've got developing guys on the 49ers like Danny Gray. So,
I think somebody in the chat was saying something about their cap space. I think that it makes sense to include Lance in the trade because that saves them about $5.5 million. Not to mention, if you do take on Cousins, you immediately extend and restructure his contract so that it's a bit more team friendly for the first year. And then you may need to restructure a couple more guys, maybe not a whole lot at that point, but roll it into a signing bonus or something like that, and make it work. But I mean, they understand that they are definitely built to win right now, and it does just make sense for both sides if they were to pull the trigger.
Do you think that this 2020 rookie scripts? So here's a 2020 Mosaic rookie
75.
scripts. 75, buy it now, March 20th. 52-week high on that is actually 180. This is
cow, dude.
Yeah, summer before the season this past year, all that hype building up, man. You remember the videos coming out of Brandon Ayuk just like alpha hit in his way in training camp. Oh man, the video hype was so crazy for the 49ers before this past season. And obviously the Trey Lance prices showed it, the Brandon Ayuk prices showed it, the Deebo prices showed it. But that Mosaic rookie scripts right here, one's kind of got like a cracked rock design behind it, compared to the Mosaic no huddle, just regular no huddle prism autographs. Which one do you think is better from an investment standpoint? This one's PSA 10. It's $41, so it's considerably lower than that. Buy it now, it's $75. There's an auction for $51. Another one for $75. And we see
I do think the molten background looks good, especially with the Niners uniform. But I am a big fan of the no huddle design, and I think that the hobby recognizes that and associates it with scarcity. So, I mean, if this can be had for I mean, it's a steal of a buy. Anything under $60, I think.
Yeah, it's a proven athlete who's in a contract year. I love investing in guys heading into a contract year because there's so many avenues for them to get that big hype spike. You know, they could be traded. They could sign a massive contract through free agency the following season. He's on a team that can go to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. And this is just such a great, I would say like 1 year plus hold if you want, you know, very safe investment, very safe, proven guy to invest in.
What do you think? Speaking of 2020 receivers, Andy, what do you think about T. Higgins changing his number?
Oh,
Did you
yeah, I
read
heard
about
about that. Was he one of the guys who's changing his number to 00?
No, he's changing it to 5 from 85.
Oh, that's right. So T. Higgins going from 85 to 5. Jamar Chase is number 1. T. Higgins is going to be 5.
Not fond of the like Ocho Cinco light, commentary basically.
You don't like that, huh? I can't blame him because T. Higgins is the man. He's a stud, dude.
And do you know that he actually, in order to change your number, you have to buy all of the remaining uniforms from the NFL shop?
Get out of here, really?
Yeah. I think he said it cost him like $800,000.
So, I mean, Panini should spend $100,000 for him to put all those on, or just touch them in his house, and then he can cut them up. And they can not see. It's not just T. Higgins cards they can put them in. I mean, they can put them in any Bengals card they want. They could even put them in like they could cut the orange patches on the Bengals jerseys and put them in like retro Buccaneer player cards. And I'm sure they could cut the black parts up and they could put those in like 10, 15 different teams cards, you know? And then just every card you cut open from Panini for the next couple of years, it just says T. Higgins on the sticker.
Do you think his willingness to do that is a gesture that he's more than likely to stay with the team?
Yeah, I think so. Well, the thing is, though, they can't afford to just like the 49ers. They can't afford to pay everybody, man. And you got to keep Burrow and Jamar Chase. And there's already extension talks in the works with Burrow. It's going to be a big extension. They got, you know what I'm saying? So they got to figure out a way to keep everybody. I could see Higgins getting a franchise tag. He's like a prime candidate to get the tag next year. You know, they could try and do that with Ayuk as well. Yeah, I mean, they also have the 5th-year option available for Ayuk, being he's a first rounder.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the Niners is that, you know, there's not a lot to talk about as far as the draft goes, in my opinion, but they have all the pieces they already need to win for the most part. You know, they have an injured quarterback situation, but if you can resolve that through a trade, I mean, there's no draft talk to be had. They're already ahead of the game. They're not rebuilding. They're not deconstructing. They're ready to win now. And that's, I mean, if you're running an organization, that's exactly where you want to be.
2020 T. Higgins. See if there's any opportunities on T. Higgins. Not like there is on Brandon Ayuk right now tonight.
I don't know about you, Andy, but I've been, I frequently am scouting, some good T. Higgins pickups.
There's a teal. It's PSA 10
his
Phoenix.
Cards get really expensive over the last season.
This one's only got one bid, Steve. It's a Phoenix teal out of 175 PSA 10.
Interesting. I like me some Phoenix.
That one's interesting. The price point is right. Otherwise, there's just not the the scarcity is kind of there on some of the nicer T. Higgins stuff. That's why I think there may be right now at the present moment more juice to squeeze out of the Brandon Ayuk market than there is the T. Higgins market. You know, I
For
feel
sure.
like Brandon Ayuk is going to go underdrafted, whereas T. Higgins is likely to go overdrafted, overpurchased, over looked at like in terms of people looking at his auctions, like actually not like overlooked. I guess we shouldn't have said overlooked like that. Like people are going to be over investing and over buying his cards right now, whereas Brandon Ayuk is a guy that's going to be undervalued at the current moment.
And that's just the thing. And for anyone that's just kind of getting into, buying high or buying low, selling high kind of thing, like, you can't just discuss buying Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes every week because, those guys' cards are kind of cemented at a really high price range, whereas you might have some, buy low opportunities on guys that are outside of the hype cycle, if you will. Buying T. Higgins right now when he's up really high is not the best time to buy T. Higgins. But if you can get a guy similar in skill level, on a winning team for far lower, that card that's going for 75 of Ayuk is probably going for 150 on T. Higgins. So that's just a great entry point on a similar player.
Boom. Well, there you go, man. This was just a couple hours ago. Must have missed it this afternoon, man. T. Higgins contract extension with the Bengals reportedly done. Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I mean, could you imagine spending almost $1 million to get a new jersey number if you weren't planning to stay with the franchise?
There you go.
I like it. They have too good of a thing going to just part with a guy that good.
Yeah, well, that's good, man. That's really good for T. Higgins' rookie market when a player stays on the team like that. I think it's really good for their rookie cards. Obviously, this is just going to continue to slowly appreciate his value and his chances of getting a Super Bowl ring here with the Bengals. Burrow, I love it, man. So I don't really see much of a change then in his ADP, his stock. I think it's going to stay pretty steady, man, throughout the rest of the offseason, just like Jamar Chase, just like Burrow. These guys are some of the most valuable guys in the hobby and in fantasy football and in the real NFL because of how good they are over the past couple of years. So, yeah, man, that is big news. That is big news from today that we just dropped. I just realized. Nice. That's awesome, man.
I think if we're gonna look up a couple Olave auctions tonight, we should look up a couple T. Higgins auctions tonight too.
I tried, man. I don't really see anything here, brother. Unless you got something you guys are dropping in the
Let me see if I got anything on my list here.
I mean, you could sell. I'm going to answer some questions here from the chat. See Aaron S out there. I mean, you could sell, but I mean, he's so young. He's so good. I mean, you've got a lot of profit. This the thing is, how much do you have invested in him? How rare is the card? How much do you like? How much in terms of a portion of your entire portfolio, your entire bankroll that you have available to spend on cards, do you have invested in that T. Higgins card or cards? And the other thing is, if you've got a bunch of T. Higgins cards, then yeah, why don't you go ahead and sell? You could probably get a very fair market value, even for some relatively common stuff. I know there's going to be a lot of sold T. Higgins data just across the board in general.
Ooh, I like that select. I think there was a purple select you clicked on. Was it previous page? I don't know if that one was already sold or if it was upcoming. I didn't see.
Which select? I have it on auction ending soonest.
Oh, okay. It may have been towards the bottom. It was a purple select.
Oh, purple. Oh, this one right here, 1916 HGA 95.
That's a nice one.
Numbered out of 49.
Now, no one's going to go as far as saying T. Higgins is the equivalent of Justin Jefferson, but you got to put things in a reasonable perspective. Like that card of Justin Jefferson would probably be like $200, right?
Well, yeah, color match. More of a color match.
T. Higgins is Justin Jefferson, but he shouldn't be 10 times more expensive either. So, I mean, that's especially a slabbed version of that card. It seems like still a good price.
Yeah. I mean, some sick color match here too for Justin Jefferson. You could also it's going to be even hard to compare T. Higgins to CD Lamb after the breakout season that CD Lamb's had this past year. We should expect him to kind of even like I think have a little bit more production in terms of like full season production. I think he could be even a little bit more productive this upcoming year. So yeah, I think it's hard to compare him to CeeDee Lamb too, especially with the market size and the role. He is the number one guy there. So you gotta kind of find that 1A, 1B role, compare him. Maybe you go compare T. Higgins to like a Devonta Smith. People get on to me about how I say his name. Devonte. I don't know, Steve. How do you say it? Devonta or Devonte? Devonte Smith. You compare him to him, there's not much difference in production numbers from 2020 to 2021. You know, you have some design differences that you look at just from an aesthetic standpoint, but you could compare him to him in terms of like the role. You know, let me think for a second. You could also compare him to Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, we see T. Higgins is higher than Brandon Ayuk, which is why I really like buying into Brandon Ayuk. I see the same upside there. I would imagine though at this point that Gabe Davis has fallen below all these guys, right, Steve? I mean, has he come back down? He should have come back down, right?
Yeah, his like lower to mid range stuff has come down a bit. The higher end stuff is still pretty pricey, but I don't know. He's still like what, 22 years old, I think, maybe 23.
Yeah, very very young. I don't know how 20. That's close. Yeah, 24. He's 24.
Gabe.
Yeah, but all these guys are about the same age, like right around 24.
And the interesting thing, and not a lot of people realize that, is to be a third year guy at 24 is a pretty big deal when a lot of these incoming rookies can be 23, 24 years old.
I really like this one, Steve. I know there's something about the red, white, and blue design for the 49ers with the wave prism. I really like the wave prism, the way that looks. Also? Yeah, it's also PSA 10. It's currently only $22.50 in 30 minutes.
Those have a lot of issues with print lines. Like I don't know if you've seen the thin black line going horizontally across the card. So to get a 10 on one of those is pretty nice.
I can imagine the pop on that's got to be insanely low. And plus, serial number there. I just kind of get a idea on trend prices for his stuff here. Some of the select, yeah, it's about $40. I mean, $40 for a PSA 10 on something that's got some color match, maybe a little bit more scarcity to it. About right.
The irony of
wide receiver,
that orange die cut select being, there must be not a lot of graded versions of these cards, because that orange die cut isn't even serial numbered, and some of the other ones were less that had a serial number on.
Yeah, there's not, man. And it's the whole PSA 10. I would be surprised if this was a buy it now. Yeah, buy it now for 50.
Yeah, it's only a data of one sale.
One sale, pop 4.
You can't really use that as like the rule of law.
No, you can't. You definitely can't. Here's a tricolor pop 2. When was this? April 2022. Okay, it's a year ago, almost a year ago. $63. There's only a pop 2 of that card. But see, but that's like, okay, man, that's a really good opportunity to get his raw cards graded, or just buy the PSA 10 when you see them pop up. You can get it for like $30 or something. Was I already into this? So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and like place a bid on this at like 37.88 and let it ride. Because if I get it at that, I mean, I think I'm in really good shape. So it's already up to 31.75. Chances are I will lose out on that auction.
It's a
That's
safe
okay.
play. Yeah, it's a safe play anyway you look at it.
I mean, if I get lucky, man, I would really like this card, this immaculate, if it had something else going on with a patch here. That blank white patch just really drives me crazy.
It's a shame too because that card background is incredible, and then
Yeah.
you just have the white napkin right in the middle.
Nice BGS slab. And he's going for a good price too, man. This is a $200 card.
Absolutely nice looking card. See if you could. Oh, there's a metal. There's a Elements.
Elements. No bids on this, Steve. But
But
see,
that's
I'm
like
out on this
select.
one, man.
Look at the description. Club level.
Panini Select Club level. Oh boy.
Oh boy,
You
got
got
that
a
one wrong.
mislabeled guy over here. This guy's only got 4 feedback and he's already making mistakes. It's not a good start. It's not a good start, man. It's not a good look.
I wonder if you could find, one of my favorite inserts, Andy, the eye black.
The eye black. I
got a couple of those. I remember when Gabe Davis was breaking out, the eye black for his was going for like around $100. You know, we not just we, but a lot of other hobby enthusiasts talk about how, I feel like inserts are dying outside of the case. I don't know if I fully believe that. I mean, there's a few others that I think will have some staying power over the years, like the eye blacks do, and the prices don't come down very often on those.
Gold ink. Here's some stitching and stuff in the patch, number 8 out of 99 for $83.99 or best offer. And here's one from COMC out of 99. So same card with some stitching.
So if you logged into COMC, that'd probably be about a $65 card.
Yeah, you get like a 10% discount or something. Mm-hmm. And you can have it
the possibility of making an offer.
What happened?
There's always COMC cards typically have a make it offer option.
That's true. You could actually go into there and make an offer on it, couldn't you?
Sometimes certain accounts will have the make it offer disabled, but if they don't, that puts you in a position where if it's 65, you could offer 55, and that's a reasonable offer.
Been on here in a while, man.
If you could get that at 55, that puts you in, near double up territory.
Yep, 65.25.
Mm-hmm.
Sales history raw. 3 up to 91.73 beginning of last season. So you've got profit.
Yeah, man, that's a sweet card.
They do have the ability to make an offer, man. So what's a better in terms of shipping? I wonder how much it would cost for me to get it shipped out through COMC. Does it make more sense to buy it through the eBay store? Well, I guess no, it would make more sense to buy it through here, right? It makes the most sense to make an offer on this card at 55.
It won't let you because of your funds.
Oh, I gotta add store credit.
Yeah.
I'll add store credit, but all right, here, let me move me off screen, I guess. Add store credit.
That purple huddle's nice too, by the way. Out of 35. But no, I think the ship to home is $5.99, I think. And it's only something like 10 or 25 cents per extra card. So if you had some PC cards you were trying to send home, I know I have a bunch that I'm just waiting to send a larger shipment home from COMC. Ooh, Jamie said he picked up a few Trevor Lawrence optic previews for the cheap. Green one is nice. Yeah, man. Green one is seemingly one of the more scarce versions from my observation. So nice job, man.
Very nice.
I've been picking up a lot of optic previews from the current set. Not all the guys that I want, but the low-hanging fruit that I can get for the mega cheap and get ready for football season coming up.
All right, let's see. I think I've got store credit now. Let's see if we can get that Brandon Ayuk.
And you know,
you guys ample time to snipe it.
The cool thing about the make an offer button on ComC is a lot of times there's an auto accept built in. So it is possible that you say 55 and it just gives it to you. Let's see.
62. Well, I didn't come this far to not get it.
We're going to own it with the click of a button.
Yep. I'm going to success. Well, I mean,
go look at your inventory. It might be sitting there right now.
I'm guessing he's going to, well, it says it was submitted. So
sometimes I've had it say that, but there it is. You got it, I think. No?
Well, it does say available store credit. Well, I guess because it's like tied up.
Oh, it's pending.
Let's say my dashboard.
Oh yeah, not yet.
Inventory managers, your latest purchases. Oh yeah,
you got it.
But check that out, man.
It's a great card.
Check that out. Last card I bought on here was May of last year. Was that Chris Godwin out of 5?
I will share this, and Andy, not just to you, but anyone watching. The I guess e-commerce version of trading cards like ComC or any of these digital vaults is going to be a more prominent thing going forward. And ComC is developing a mobile version for your cell phone app. So I would anticipate a high volume spike for buying and selling on ComC when that happens.
Interesting. Ready to ship. Shipping it home, Steve. As you say that.
You got some other stuff on there to ship home?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could get a bunch. I got Devin White rookie ticket auto. I got some Shaq Barrett stuff. I got some Marquez Callaway rookie ticket autos. Holy crap! I've got those listed for so much.
Dude, he's on a new team.
Yeah. Look at all these Devontae Adams I've got. Devontae Adams Chrome rookie cards. Calvin Ridley. That'll be nice. Got a Bo Jackson rookie. Got a Lawrence Taylor.
Hamler's gonna be hurt to start the year, and then we talked about the possibility of a Judy trade happening. That would put him in this top 2, top 3 situation in Denver. So.
Oh, look at all these Gardner Minshew's I got. Yeah, man. Apparently, I've got quite a few cards on here. Yeah, I've got a ton of football cards on here, man. I mean, nothing super nice. I kind of am really happy with this Brandon Ayuk.
I've noticed maybe in the last month, like an uptick of sales on there. Like I'll just log in to browse and I'll notice that I have a couple sales that I didn't know about. So I'm like, hey, I dig it.
My prices are so outdated. You know, like I haven't looked at these cards. These are these couple basketball cards on here at the very bottom were stuff I bought when I very first got in back in April of 2020. You can see April 13th. April 12th. Man. Yeah. I had no clue what I was doing. I was buying these basketball cards based off of the Last Dance hype train and what my buddy Brad was doing. So and then I bought like a couple. And the first football card I bought was a Patrick Mahomes rated rookie. Outside of a couple bucks. I was like, oh, got to get that. And I bought it. Guess how much I bought it for, Steve? I should have bought all of them they had. That was diversifying, man.
What
I
was
was
it, about 100?
No, I bought it for $30.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah, I bought it for $30. I sold it for 100 and like 130 or something like that. And I'm like, oh man, dude, this is so sick, you know? And so, but if I could go back, obviously I would have bought the whole, because there was a whole page, dude. There was a whole page. There was probably like 20 of them. They were all $30 to $50. I would have bought every single one of them, man, if I could have gone back. But I didn't realize how the market was going to react, obviously. And I was diversifying, you know. I was buying Mahomes. I bought Kyler Murray. I was buying, you know, my guys on the Bucks and stuff. And I was buying, then that was when Brady was signed. So I was diversifying. I was, you know, and I was buying a bunch of different kind of base cards from Beckett Marketplace. So I was, you know, spending a considerable amount of money, but none of it was like focused in on one player or anything big or just like, you know, getting highly liquid cards of the best player in the league, like Patrick Mahomes, is what would have netted me the highest return on that little time period. I still did really well, but it could have been a lot bigger if I just spent everything on Mahomes. You know, it's like going back to the 80s and just putting everything you had into Apple stock or Microsoft stock, you know, or early 90s, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You know, you go back to 2020 and, you know, I put a bulk of my eggs in one basket with Burrow and that worked out well for me. But don't get me wrong, there was, you know, on the advice of someone else, I went against my own gut on, you know, bought me some LaVisca. Luckily, no really high-end stuff. But, you know, they're not all going to be home runs, right? That's just not realistic. But the ones that are will definitely offset the ones that aren't, as long as you're not making any ridiculous plays. So, but that you know, the Mahomes thing is a good example of, you know, what the hobby market has capabilities of doing. You know, I think just because everyone's like, oh, you know, that like the market's cooling off and blah 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 and all that nonsense, and it's like, well, I mean that happens with everything. That happens with the housing market. That happens with the gold and silver prices. That happens with crypto. I mean, no one stopped buying Bitcoin when it tanked 80%. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean that that's where it's going to be forever. I mean, there's a up and down for every financial market that there is, and I don't think Fanatics is stepping into a market they think they're going to lose money on.
Yeah, no way, man. I think somebody bought the other eye black Brandon Ayuk. Like it says now, mine's the only one last item in stock. Remember, there was another one.
No way.
Yeah, there was another one. It's
Isn't
gone.
that the other one?
This is mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see me, AKs and E0813. That's me.
Or they pulled it down. If it was somebody watching pulled it down, maybe.
I wonder if we can go back over to eBay now, right? And we should be able to come in here. This one should show. Wow, it's still not updated on eBay, which is interesting. It must take a little while to. I wonder how much time, maybe an hour, maybe 2, before it shows up sold on eBay's list. Obviously, if you go to buy that, I don't think you're going to be able to.
No, for sure. There's no way, because I've actually witnessed that with a card I bought on ComC after finding it on eBay, and then there was definitely some delay on it not showing up on eBay anymore.
Massive variance there. Interesting. Well, we got a question. We're at an hour 18. I want to get some of these questions in the chat here. Aaron said, what are our thoughts on some of the Bowman U football prospects coming in this year's draft? No, that's great. We should absolutely spend the last little bit of time tonight on the 2022 Bowman Chrome U. Have you been prospecting on any of the Bowman Chrome U stuff here, Steve?
I've just lightly, I've been keeping an eye on it. I've been looking at some Richardson and some other Kayshawn Booty, other fellas on there that I like. But in my opinion, they're a bit priced out of where I'm comfortable getting in onto them. You know, we did talk about it last year, and it's interesting because there wasn't a lot of other people showing Bowman U product. We talked about Bowman U pretty extensively last year, and now it's kind of becoming a thing. But it does have some high ceiling capabilities because, as most people know, that is the most sought after card for a baseball rookie. But there is one big difference between Bowman U football and Bowman U baseball, and that Bowman U baseball is still a player in a pro uniform, whereas it's in a college uniform for football. So I think that is a drastic difference. But, you know, I could be wrong. That it could end up being a big play still. It's a big play now because there's no other product out for the guys. But whether it is a lasting play or not, I think is yet to be seen.
Very interesting. I like the take, man. Bowman U Chrome. It's interesting because I'm getting some baseball results. I'm also like, even a guy like Caleb Williams, who's going to be the top quarterback draft prospect next year. Now it's just a base first card, not really do anything. But I think that's pretty normal, right? This one right here. I mean, this is still only going to be $1, a couple dollar card, even so, just because it's a base card, you know. I think you really got to start looking for these short print refractors, X-fractors, lava refractors, serial numbered cards, and autograph.
Serial numbered stuff is where the price takeoff really happens. And then once you get into autos, you're talking like for QBs, $100 plus on some of the better prospects.
And now these rambling inserts, these are like common inserts. They might look pretty cool, but they're super common unless you find one that's serial numbered that has some type of, you know, super short print design to it.
Andy, I wonder what, for reference, if you went and found a Kenny Pickett from last year's set, what it might be selling for.
The Kenny Pickett now?
From 2021?
Yeah, that's a good question. 2021 Bowman U from Kenny Pickett sold. Let's go down to the sold. This is $6 first refractor. Let's see. Let's look at the sold. See if there's anything really selling. No, not really anything selling recently. I'll filter by
high to low, maybe.
Yeah, it's filtered by high to low. And see, January 15th, January 14th. There's just so much pro product. This is what happens, man. When you get so much pro product out for these guys, it just doesn't really hold up long term, man. But also at the same time, none of these are really nice cards. Like, you've got to.
Yeah.
If it's,
I don't see any auto. I don't see any serial numbered.
Yeah.
It's like all pink.
Yeah. So I got to think the best Bowman U stuff for Kenny Pickett is stashed in collections. And it was sold during the season last year, you know, and just before the season. Here's January 31st. This is probably the best thing we can find. A big kahuna case hit. $41. Oh, and there's a gold shimmer. Okay, there's a gold shimmer out of 50, $23. Here's a yellow. Wow, out of 75, $200 because it's got the autograph on it.
That's decent. I mean,
yeah, so it's decent. It's decent. It's getting some, like, it's getting, people are buying it. It's just some, you know, if it's not serial numbered, it's going to go pretty low, man. I think the best prices are definitely last year on this stuff. But here's a 10, the Bowman U with the first autograph. It's kind of like your ideal card. PSA 10, January 29th, just before Super Bowl, sold for $178.
I mean, that's a respectable price. I think that if you bought that card last year, you probably paid a lot more, you know, because it's hyper relevant because it was the year of his draft. But that's why I think that there's maybe going to be not as sharp of a fall off going forward for some of this college stuff. But I think the verdict is not yet out on whether there's like a lasting value in. Yeah, I mean, if you pull up most of the high draft prospects for baseball, you'll find them in a lot of times in a pro uniform.
I love getting these veteran autographs because the way I look at it, like autographs of Hall of Famers like Brady, like Deion Sanders, Adrian Peterson, Eric Dickerson, these guys. I mean, that's like if you were to go to an event and get one of these guys' autographs, it's going to probably cost you at least $20 to $30 or $40 or $50, like $20 to $50, right, Steve? And
yeah,
and that's just signing anything that you have with you. And if you can get it on like a nicely designed card that's got aesthetics and some eye appeal and like a thick chrome finish and stuff, I mean, the Leaf Pro set, they do a good job. And I think those cards I think they're pretty nice.
The cool thing about Leaf is, Leaf and Pro set is that, pre Panini, that in the 80s, early 90s, there was Leaf and Pro set cards. Like, so, there is still some hobby relevancy. It's not like, yeah, it is lower end hypothetically, but it's still relevant because they were printed before. And you're right. I have seen like non-Hall of Famers doing local signings, and they charge $30 or $40 to sign just about anything. And if it's a rookie card, they charge 10 more.
Yeah, and this is so nostalgic, man. Like these are the cards I remember growing up with as a kid back in the 90s. These Pro sets, dude, that's an iconic brand from early 90s. Everybody remembers Pro set football cards from the early 90s. You had those Pro set books, and they were like almost like a rounded edge like cards. Oh man, this is cool. This is really cool. And it's sealed by Leaf in a one touch. Sticker autos leaving the sticker a little bit. It's not going to gem on the auto when it leaves a sticker like that, but still really cool card. Obviously you can see somebody bought this for $120 just the other day. I mean, this is the thing, man. Guy's still hyper relevant with everything he's doing in college, and he's Hall of Famer prime time. So it's like, hey, I love it. Like, I mean, event signed anything is going to be you're looking at $50, and it's not even going to be on anything this nice in most cases, or you have to send it in to get it authenticated. And Leaf is a respected manufacturer,
Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet. The only thing you can really find like nice veteran autos on is like some of their more common 80s and 90s cards that aren't they're graded, but they're not graded for the card condition. Like it'll just say authentic for the auto or whatever. And those are still going to be around similar price range, like around $100 or so.
What do you think about this one, man? Pro set pass. This is like really old Pro set design, right? I'm not sure I even remember this.
That's
this
like
is cool,
3 of 7.
Pro set pure. Looks like an acetate finish, so it's kind of like that thin plastic card. This is super interesting.
That's pretty cool looking.
He really rushed the auto on that on this one.
Yeah, they definitely get some grade lowering on the fading on the lines there.
Where's the C's at in Deion Sanders? I see a couple C's here. Looks like a couple C's in his autograph. Last time I checked, there's no C's in Deion Sanders.
I mean, we knew he was fast on the field. Evidently, he's fast signing his cards too.
Yeah. I saw where is it? Here we go. And Barry still does a lot of event signed stuff, but I know it's like $40 or $50 just to get him, to get him signed something. And this is cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's really cool. Pro set pure.
I like that. That's the much better auto. Not to mention that
225.
the card stock is Lions colors.
What's up, Ryan from Rhinoverse? He said, I sent off for a Sanders auto when I was young, but not sure if it is real. When I was young, you could mail off a card to Sports Figures and they would sign it and mail back. Somebody I was talking to, they still, it was Jets Crazy. It was Matt Vescovi was telling me that there still is a mail-in program, but I guess they just don't, they don't respond very often. It's like not very many guys participate in it or respond back. Especially not to any grown-ass adults. Maybe if it's like a kid, maybe it's an underprivileged kid or something, you have a much better shot.
Like Make-A-Wish story or something like that.
That's us grown-ass guys chasing cardboard.
And, sadly, there's probably a lot of people out there that are just trying to sell the card,
Yeah, very cool. Looks like you sent me a snipe in the chat, Steve.
I did.
I'm going to share this one before we get out of here. Been a fun live stream with you tonight, man. Glad you guys tuned in on Sunday night. I hope you all had a very nice Easter holiday, time with the family, etc., etc. Check this out. Gold finite. Well, I kind of look at this as gold vinyl, right? I mean, that's gold vinyl, brother.
Yeah, man. Those
that's sick.
In the hobby, the vinyl prism cards are pretty much like the top chase cards.
Dang, man. This is at a discount right now.
That is a last year prism, so that is a rookie.
Why is this at a discount? This is juicy right here. How much do you think this is going to shoot up to? Obviously, 31 bids. There's going to be some competition. Even at the ending time, 1 a.m., there's going to be some people up late night fighting over this one, huh?
It's too low. It's too low. I mean, where do I think the card should end? I mean, it should end over 1,000. Where will it end? It might end around like 7. I think they really screwed up with the ending the auction at the time they're going to end it at.
Authenticity guarantee on this one too. So that means they're going to have to mail it to CSG or PSA, and then they'll mail it to you if it checks out. It looks to be in good shape. Yeah, man, it looks to be in good shape too. That's sick, man. This is nice little grail card right here, bro. Justin Fields too.
If you got a couple
his ADP has gone up so much, Steve. I was looking at Superflex ADP, and he's now a first rounder.
Think of it this way. If that was Trey Lance and it was 2022 before the season, what would that card sell for? Think about that for a second.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, probably $2,000, 2,500. I don't know, something in there, 1,500.
Look at what the direction that that Fields is heading in right now. So I mean, that the upside on that is just insane.
Yeah, really insane. Like, yeah, if you could pick this up for anything under $600 or $700, I'm feeling really good about that. Really good about that. Yeah.
And if anyone manages to scoop that later tonight, let us know. Or Andy, maybe star it up so we can go back and look at it next week.
2021 Prism Gold Vinyl.
Or I wonder if there's going to be any any comps, because there's only 5 of those.
Sold. Well, Devontae Smith, 175. Let's see what else we can find. Let me go highest. 5 out of 5. That's the true base prism. He's your boy.
While you're looking for that, Andy, and while we're talking about Justin Fields, I was about to. We started talking about our keeper league between me and the people in my keeper league,
Mhm.
and they brought up a relevant question. They said, now that what's his name? Now that DJ Moore is on the Bears, were you still planning on cutting him? And I said, that's a good question. Not just because he's on the Bears, but I think that he's got incredible upside. He always had incredible upside, but now he's on a much improved offense. So I'm intrigued.
This is the only comp I got, man, is the Devontae Smith. That's it. I got
There's the out of 10 for 305 gold.
Yeah, this one does. Yeah, it's just not the gold vinyl. It's gold 305. I gotta like double it, man.
At least, yeah.
And that one was Feb 6th. Yeah. I mean, because look, here's the Ritter this year's at a 305. So at least double it. That's what I think. If you can get it for 600, I think you're still sitting with upside.
Yeah, that I actually may stay up and keep an eye on that one this evening.
Because the Chris Olave 200 best offer accepted. Let's go. I'm curious to see what this one ended at. Somebody offered this. Somebody made an offer on this auction and closed it before it ended via auction. Look at this real quick before we get out of here. Brian wants the Ritter. He's a big Falcons fan.
It's going to be, we didn't see a whole lot out of them, but I think it definitely makes for an interesting, storyline at the very least.
$200. So that's that's right in line with the Devontae Smith from your same year. So being that it's a wide receiver compared to elite quarterback, I mean, it's kind of almost like looking at a raw card compared to a PSA 10. You have to almost add like 5x to it, at least 2x between the range of 200 to 500% more.
The QB hype multiplier.
Yeah, QB hype multiplier right there. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely think you're in a really good spot. You can get that for anything under 600 or so. You'd be sitting really, really good, man.
Could you imagine too? I mean, let's take a close look at that thing. The centering seems not bad. I mean, it's hard to tell because there's writing on one side, but
I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all, man.
Good. The centering seems good, honestly.
Top to bottom.
Imagine the multiplier on a card that rare if it gems out.
Whew.
I mean, you're talking thousands at this point.
Yeah. Though. Corners. I mean, yeah. You could turn that into thousands. Yeah, man. Whew. Baby, some heat right there. Whew. Appreciate you sharing that with us at the end of the night. Appreciate you guys. Buddy. HR, Ryan, Nug Wrangler. Nice. Josh. I appreciate you, Josh. I'm glad you showed up, man. Yeah, man. Appreciate you smashing the like button. Jamie, Travis, Jeremy, Aaron, Victor. You guys are awesome. Jeremiah Goodwin, Brody McCormick, Jesse M, David Wright, Ziggy No out there, the Miss Ziggy No earlier in the chat. Happy Easter, Rage. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Hope you guys have a good night. We'll be back real soon with more content. Steve, I appreciate you as always, man. Good show. I see you got a little cactar in the background there.
Yeah, man.
Guarding your packages.
Popular demand. And he whispered a little something in my ear a minute ago that someone said in the chat about hitting that like button, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Andy, I don't know if I'm sure you've been keeping an eye on the analytics, but we're getting there, man. We're averaging pretty close to 950 views a week on our videos. So I'd love to hit that 1,000 button, man. So that'll be a nice little milestone.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So if you guys have any friends out there you want to share the channel with, share the quest, they're into football cards or fantasy football, you want to get them into football cards, share the channel with them, share the video link with them, and we'll continue to grow this thing.
And we'll be doing some drafts soon. So if they like football, they like drafts, they like anything football related, just get them in, have them come in, say what's up, even if it's just a couple times, you know, it does help out.
Hey, I got that other Brandon Ayuk as well before we get out of here.
Wait,
the tricolor select.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you ended up getting both of the eye blacks. That would explain why they disappeared.
No, I got the other tricolor select. Let's see what I got that for. 31.75 actually. It never went above that 31.75.
Very respectable.
Nice. Sweet.
Very respectable, man. Congrats.
I'll take it. That was a PSA 10 tricolor out of 199. Right on, man. So I did a little Brandon Ayuk sniping tonight. All right, guys. Awesome. Expect that in upcoming mail day.
Heck yeah, man. Well, happy Easter, Andy, and everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining us this evening. We will catch you on our regularly scheduled show Thursday evening.
Yes, sir. Peace out. See you guys.